What are you doing here? This is your fault, you know. Security details for a VIP party. And you know what's next for me if I don't get answers on the smuggling case? Guarding statues of dead people at the Archaeological Museum. Great. My prime suspect is out investigating while I'm here making up security codes. What have you got? You're kidding. He saw this? He'd be a convincing witness. This dinner is in his honor. Believe me, there are a lot of questions I could ask Mehmet. The first one would be, who put the gun to your head and blew your brains out? He's very dead, my friend. Maybe you should start thinking up an alibi. A lot. But I didn't have to go to them. They came to me. They're very worried, even gave me their login records. You know whose name is all over it? Yours. Really? You are clairvoyant then? The records say you have been using that program since March. Let me give you a little advice. If you have a lead on this case, go after it. If you are not guilty, someone is doing a very good job of making you look like you are. And I'm running out of time to be conscientious.
Yes. I don't even know if the simulations are accurate anymore. There's been so much tampering. Yes. Yes, I do. I've decided this isn't such a good idea to allow just anyone to tamper with my files without supervision. I'll cancel your access code. The police have been here asking questions again. This time they're about you, and I suddenly realize I don't know the answers. The truth is so elusive, isn't it? All right. But I've already checked the simulation. There are no missing files. I'll show you. There's nothing here for you.
Library of Celsus at Ephesus, 2nd century AD, Imperial Roman period.
5 summers have I spent in farthest Greece, roaming clean through the bounds of Asia, and coasting homeward came to Ephesus, hopeless to find, yet loath to leave unsought, or that or any place that harbours men. But here must end the story of my life, and happy were I in my timely death, could all my travels warrant me they live. The Ionians have erected their towns under the finest of sky and sweetest climate in the earth that we know of, for no country approaches to Ionia in these blessings, neither north nor south, nor east nor west, some of which are oppressed by wet and cold, others by heat and drought.
The Ephesians all deserve to be hanged for having driven from their city Hermodorus, the most honest man among them, saying, "We will not have among us a good man. If any such there be, let him go and live elsewhere." Alexander, being at Ephesus, had his portrait taken by Apelles, and coming to look at it, did not praise it as much as the picture deserved. But on his horse being brought in, it began to neigh at the horse represented in the painting, as if it also was a real one. "It is clear, O king," said Apelles, "that your horse is a better judge of painting than you are."
Thus it happens at times that the populace is plunged into disorder and riots by the inexcusable audacity of the bakers' agitation in the marketplace. Under these circumstances they should by now have been hauled into court and have paid the penalty. But since it is necessary to prefer the welfare of the city to the punishment of these individuals, I thought it best to bring them to their senses by an edict. Wherefore, I forbid the bakers to assemble in association and their officers to make inflammatory speeches, and I order them to give complete obedience to those in charge of the community's welfare and to provide the city fully with the necessary production of bread. If any of them is caught from this time on either meeting contrary to my orders or leading any riot or agitation, he shall be hauled into court and suffer the appropriate punishment. And if anyone dares to hide and continue disrupting the city, he shall in addition be branded on the foot with the word decuria, and anyone who harbours any such person shall thereby become liable to the same punishment. The Emperor Caesar Trajanus Hadrian Augustus, son of the deified Trajan Parthicus, grandson of the deified Nerva, Pontifex Maximus, holding the tribution power for the 13th year, 3 times consul, father of his country, to the chief magistrates and council of Ephesus, greeting. Lucius Erastus states that he is a fellow citizen of yours, that he has many times sailed the sea, making himself as useful as he could thereby to his native city, and that he has always transported the governors of the province. He has already sailed with me twice, first when I was travelling to Rhodes from Ephesus, and now on my journey from Eleusis to you. He desires to become a member of your council. I leave the scrutiny of his qualifications in your hands, and if nothing stands in the way and he is judged worthy of the honour, I shall pay on behalf of his election whatever sum of money the councillors pay.
The Emperor Caesar, Titus, Aelius, Hadrianus, Antoninus, Augustus, son of the deified Hadrian, grandson of the deified Trajan Parthicus, descendant of the deified Nerva, Pontifex Maximus, holding the tribution power for the 8th year, twice acclaimed imperator, 4 times consul, father of his country, to the chief magistrates, council, and people of Ephesus, greeting. The munificence which Vedius Antoninus lavishes upon you I learned of not so much from your letter as from his own. For, desiring to obtain assistance from me for the embellishment of the public works which he offered you, he made known to me how many and what great buildings he is adding to the city, but you do not properly appreciate him. I granted him all he requested, and I welcomed the fact that he prefers not the usual method of those participating in public affairs, who for the sake of immediate popularity expend their munificence on shows and doles and prizes for games, but means whereby he hopes to make the city more stately in the future. Amongst the most celebrated of the ancients born at Ephesus are Heraclitus the Obscure and Hermodorus, who appears to have been the author of part of the Roman laws. The poet Hipponax was also of Ephesus, as also the 2 painters Parrhasius and Apelles. Amongst the illustrious moderns of the city is reckoned the orator Alexander, called Lychnus.
Warning: current data display is inaccurate. Manual overwrite in source code has destabilized site matrix.
Bye.